Hello, I'm Professor Rad, and today we're going to talk about multiplying signed numbers. So, in order to come up with a rule for multiplying signed numbers, what a mathematician would do is just sort of experiment and use definitions to figure out what ought to happen. So, for example, let's say we want to find 4 times negative 1. So, if we use the definition of what multiplication means, it means we need to do some repeated addition. So I'm going to take 4 copies of negative 1 and add them up. So since all the signs are the same, negative 1 plus negative 1 is negative 2, plus another negative 1 is negative 3, plus another negative 1 would be negative 4. So that means 4 times negative 1 is going to give us a negative 4. Okay, but what if we had the negative number first instead of the positive number? Well, we could still use this idea for multiplication being repeated addition. We could say that we could take 2 copies of negative 5 and multiply those together. So add them together. Oh, goodness. So negative 5 plus negative 5. And that's going to give us negative 10. So it looks like if I have a negative number times a positive number, it doesn't matter which one comes first. I end up with a negative number. It also doesn't matter which one is bigger, right? Here the positive number was bigger and we got a negative. And here the negative number is bigger and we got a negative. So it doesn't matter which number is bigger or smaller or which one is positive or negative. If the signs of the two numbers are different, then our answer ends up being negative. So you could play around some more and experiment to see what happens if you multiply 2 negatives, like what that would look like. But we're just going to move on to the theorem, the rule, and go ahead and apply it in an example. So Theorem 3 says the product of 2 signed numbers can be found by first finding the product of the 2 absolute values. In other words, just multiply the 2 numbers, ignore the signs, multiply the numbers. Then, if the 2 numbers had the same sign, the answer is positive. And if they have different signs, the answer is negative. So multiplying is a lot easier than adding or subtracting with signed numbers because the rule is a lot easier. You just do the math how you always would, and then for the sign, you just check to see were they the same or different. So if I wanted to do 5 times negative 4, I'm going to think, what is 5 times 4? So 5 times 4 is 20. And then my numbers had different signs. So since the signs were different, we're going to get a negative number. For example B, we have negative 3 times negative 6. Again, I'm going to ignore those signs and just do 3 times 6, which is 18. And then the signs of the two numbers are the same. So since they're the same sign, I get a positive answer. Which is kind of weird because even though both of these numbers are negative, our answer is positive. If I look at example C over here, oh, excuse me, now we have 3 numbers that we're multiplying together. Some of the signs are the same, but some of the signs are different. So what do we do? Well, we're going to follow our order of operations and just do the operations one at a time. And since they're both multiplication, we'll just go left to right. So if I do negative 2 times negative 9, I ignore the negatives and I just do 2 times 9. So 2 times 9 is 18. And then a negative times a negative, the signs are the same, so we end up with a positive 18. And let's bring down the 4. All right, so now, this is easy. No more negatives, so it's just positive numbers. So I'm going to do some math off on the side here. 4 times 8 is 32. So write the 2, carry the 3. 4 5, 6, 7. So we end up getting a 72. And since both of these were positive, our answer is positive, because that's what we had before when we multiplied, just positive numbers. And then for this last example here, oh golly, a whole string of numbers. So let's do -1 times -1 first. So ignore the signs, excuse me, ignore the signs. 1 times 1 is 1. And since the signs are the same, our answer is positive. Then let's bring down everything else. So we had -1, -1, and -11. Cool. Now I'm going to keep working left to right. So 1 times 1, still 1. But this time, the signs are different. We have a positive and a negative, so our answer is negative. Bring down the rest. All right, let's keep working left to right. 1 times 1 is 1. Negative times negative is positive. And we'll bring down the -11. 1 times 11 is 11. And then we have a positive and a negative, so our answer is negative. All right, I don't know why that's the only one I boxed in. Maybe I should be boxing all of these in, huh? Ta-doo. Okay, so let's just check this on our calculator, make sure we've got our math correct here. So when I type negative numbers into my calculator, I want to make sure I'm using my negative key. So on this calculator, that happens to be down here, and I would type it in before I type the number. So for example, for part A, I'm going to do 5 times, and then you don't need the parentheses, but I'll put them in. So I have parentheses, -4 parentheses, and we get -20. And just to show you that we don't need them, I could do 5 times -4 and still get -20. Let's check part B down here. So we had -3 times -6. Gave us a positive 18. Excellent. And these questions off on the right, we had -2 times -9 times 4. We got a positive 72, which matches, great. And then here we had 1, 2, 3, 4 negative ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we had a -11 at the end. And we got a -11. Sweet. So let's clear this out a little bit here. And I've got some exercises for you to try. So try to find these products by hand. First, decide whether it's going to be positive or negative, and then go ahead and find the product. And then for these last 4, use your calculator to find each of those products. I hope you found this video helpful. In the next one, we're going to talk about how notation can kind of get in the way and make things harder for us. All right, so I'll see you then. Have a great day. Bye.